Hello, ladies, gentlemen, non-binaries, and everybody else under the rainbow of our wonderful community. How are you doing today? We are back once again with the good people. We're on like part 3 of Maeve's route. I think we just do a part every time there's a chapter, just because the chapters be long. And so we're just jumping right back in. I don't know how many chapters are in each part because only half of the route is completed at this time, so I don't know how many chapters that entails. So every stream, every time we figure that out, it's new to you and it's new to me. So this one, flight. Ooh. So this is Maeve. This is my wife. My husband also showed up, Keegan, the one who's not friends with Maeve. I have another husband, the king, who is friends with Maeve because they're on the same side, but this husband is the husband on the other side. He doesn't know he's my husband yet, and the king doesn't know he's my husband yet. Maeve knows that she's my wife. Well, kind of. So it's a really weird square romance right now. But yeah, that's all you gotta know. So that's where we're at. It's fine. This will be fine. This will be fine, right? I peek around the Gollin, searching the forest periphery. Keegan was right. There must be at least 30 men surrounding us. I know Maeve is good, but is she that good? Oh, I don't know what that is. It's gonna be like, fuck, isn't it? Son of a bitch. Knew it. Ha ha ha. Moxa.
Moxa.
We don't have a choice. I can't do anything from behind this stone. Are you serious? You heard what he said? We're surrounded. Not quite. Do you trust me? I mean, yes, I do, because you're my wife. Yes. I don't know what she has in mind, but my gut tells me she'll get us out of this. Stay close to me and don't let the Master of Secrets lure you away. He might try to separate us. I'll do the talking. As we step around the huge Gollin, a murder of crows circles the air. Their calls are loud enough to force Keegan to raise his voice to be heard. The guards raise their bows, all aiming at Maeve. Please don't aim at my wife. There you are, Druid. Or should I call you Reaps? You've been quite the little investigator lately, haven't you? My chest tightens in panic and I look to Maeve for what to do. She steps in front of me, shielding me from Keegan. The guards hold their arrows at the ready, waiting for his signal. Whatever Maeve has planned, I hope she does it sooner rather than later. Captain what is it? Trugier? Man. Trujor. Captain Trujor. Shame our first meeting is under such circumstances. That is, me taking you in for conspiracy and illegally crossing the border.
Your reputation precedes you. A man who creeps around in the shadows, only revealing himself when he has the protection of his superiors.
Why is she antagonizing him? Strength in numbers, as they say, which you currently seem to lack.
Either your liege doesn't know you're here, or cares little about you being caught. I can't say I'm surprised he lacks a spine either way.
I got both of their voices in like a 30-second time span. Bless you. God bless you.
Perhaps, were you to hand over the druid, I could be convinced to offer you leniency.
Afraid you were going to run into him, were you? What is she doing? Keegan makes a low noise of disgust. Hardly. However, I understand your lot is quite fond of delusions of grandeur. And the unseelie king wouldn't be the first charismatic leader you failed. Now would he? Is he talking about Fidel? Oh, man. Phelim. That's not a D sound. Ugh. Whatever he means, it strikes a nerve with Maeve. Did you fight in the Battle of Glion Rua? Maestruin?
Keegan Mosteruin.
Mosteruin. Mosteruin. Certainly not. My talents are, as you so perceptively pointed out, best left to the dark. But I've heard plenty about your performance, if that's what you're asking.
An omen of death, descending from the sky, poised to slay every man in her path with her scythe-like spear. Quite the spectacle. You seem to have captured the hearts and imaginations of many.
Omen of death? Oh my god! She was like a reaper? Like me?
I'll admit I'm skeptical, particularly since the Unseelie have a habit of turning men into gods, and by the looks of you, well, forgive me if I don't bow. However, the crows are a nice touch.
Still, as you previously noted, I brought along some reinforcements just in case. Better to be sure, no? Though I imagine a meager 30 men is nothing to the Morrigan. You're right. It's not. The crows descend from the sky, swarming around Maeve so forcefully I have to leap out of the way to dodge them. In seconds, my vision is obscured by dark wings. The crows shoot past violently fast, the flapping of their wings almost deafening me. I can't see where Maeve is. The crows part, flying off into the trees. In their place, Maeve now hovers above us, but she isn't quite Maeve. Oh my god, she has wings! What happened to her? Bearing enormous crow wings, massive harpy-like legs, and a terrifying steel weapon, Maeve no longer resembles the woman she was moments ago. Now she's... Oh my god, she's hot! Fuck! What? She does have a scythe. Oh my god. Queen, she's meant to be my wife. Really? Really? She's meant to be my wife.
You wanted the Morrigan. Well, am I not a sight to behold?
Keegan's earlier words echo in my mind. An omen of death. Chaos erupts around us, and I can hear the panicking of the guards and Keegan ordering them to return to their positions. A few of the guards loose their arrows, but Maeve moves so quickly through the air that none of them land. She swoops down, straight towards the archers. That's visceral sounding. Her weapon swings through the air, slicing through 3 men with little effort. I scurry behind one of the large stones, feebly attempting to shield myself from the arrows flying in all directions.
Bow to me.
Maeve takes out a few more guards before the rest of them begin dropping their weapons and fleeing back into the woods for cover. As I crawl out from my hiding spot, I stumble upon a man who screams in response. I bend down to look at his wound to see if he can be helped and notice bright red lines radiating from it. The skin peels back from the wound, blistering in places. This doesn't look normal. Is this because of Maeve's weapon? Now that I think about it, all the other weapons here are bronze. My stomach turns as the reality of our situation sets in, and the injured man before me either seems to pass out or... Oh god. What have we done? I wanted to know more about why she's called the Morrigan, but I never thought... No. I'm okay with this, actually. I'm definitely okay with this. Are you still there, Reeps? Maeve's voice cuts through the air, echoing off the gallon. It's different somehow. Darker, slightly warped, as though it's almost too vast for her body. She approaches me with her strange scythe still in hand. I hesitantly rise, hoping I'm not the next person to face her wrath. Don't be afraid. It seems our Master of Secrets has disappeared into thin air. Or so he thinks. We'll hunt him down yet. Wait, no, don't! Why? My heart beats rapidly as I race for an excuse. I don't know what happened to the calm, rational woman I was speaking to only moments ago, but whatever changed her seems to have changed her entire personality. All of this is certain to have repercussions. Even if it was only self-defense, so many lives have been lost. I can't let her take this any further. Okay, we should let him go. He might have a backup plan. That is my husband. It is Keegan, though. He has to have a backup plan. He might have a backup plan. Ooh, that got me, like, friendship hearts or whatever. Give me hearts. He might have a backup plan. We don't know if we'd be walking into a trap. There could be more reinforcements on the way. I can take them. Well, I'd like to not get caught in the crossfire, if you don't mind. Fair enough. It would not do to lose you so soon, my friend. You make a good point. We should assess the situation before pursuing him. I appreciate the way you've handled yourself, by the way. I like that I can trust you in times of crisis. I exhale a shaky breath and smile at the unexpected compliment. Maybe Maeve is still in there after all. You're not gonna skewer me with that, then. Maeve laughs as though I were obviously joking. I would much rather do this instead. Before I can blink, Maeve proceeds to scoop me up into a bone-crushing hug. I would much rather be kissed, but I'll accept this. It's only chapter 3. I'll accept this. There. All better now. As Maeve plops me down, I find myself needing to brace myself against her for balance. Careful. If you get blood on yourself, I'll not be washing that out for you. Oh, right. Good point. She chuckles. In any case, thank you for trusting me. I know this affair must have been scary for you, but I promise I will keep you safe. Now then, let's get out of here. How are we going to get back to Murius? Is Robin supposed to be meeting you? What if he runs into Keegan? I'm struck with the thought of Robin showing up to get Maeve and meeting Keegan instead. I'd pay to see Keegan try to wrangle Robin. I imagine it for a second and find myself laughing along with her. The tension in my shoulders eases a bit. I have an idea that I think you'll enjoy much more. She's gonna carry me. She's gonna fly. Maeve turns about face to the statue of Bridget and takes the water from her well, using it to rinse the blood from her face, arms, everywhere. God, she's hot, sorry. Gamolishkal?
Gamalishkel. Gamalishkel.
Gamolishkal. Once clean, Maeve drops her weapon on the ground and scoops me off my feet, cradling me to her chest. Her wings stretch out, preparing to take off at any second, and she grabs her scythe with her talons. Hold on tight. I don't usually take passengers. Maeve's wings give one enormous flap and we're launched into the air. The wind rushes past me as the druid's crossing grows even smaller, and my arms tighten around Maeve's neck. She laughs and speaks just loud enough to be heard over the air rushing past my ears. Don't worry, Reaps. I've got you. Maeve holds me tightly against her as she soars across the sky. Balius whirs past us underneath, its forests and hills shifting in color and density as we approach the border. Maeve leans in to speak to me as we continue on. What do you think? This is amazing! It's exhilarating! We're flying! Never in my wildest dreams would I believe this possible. I can't imagine anything more exciting than this. It feels like complete freedom. If you think this is exciting, you should see what else I can do. How about you show me? Oh my god, we're spinning. Maeve's grip on me tightens and she straightens her body as we begin to tilt in the air. She rolls smoothly and we spin several times, shooting across the sky like an arrow. With another thrust of her wings, we change direction and loop backwards twice. I managed to peek up at Maeve during her acrobatics. It's the same look as when she was fighting Keegan's guards, like she's thriving on the rush of danger in a way. Maeve catches me watching her and gives me a mischievous grin seconds before her grip on me disappears completely, and... my grip on her neck isn't enough. My arms give and I'm falling, flailing, weightless in the air. Where is Maeve? I knew she would. That's my wife. Maeve swoops underneath me, catching me effortlessly. She continues upward, laughing as I try to reorient myself from the fall. But before I can get my bearings, the sky starts to dim, and we're nose-diving into a dark autumn forest. Maeve kicks out her feet just as we meet the ground and runs a few steps before coming to a stop. We lurch forward, but don't fall over. Maeve lets me down gently. Maeve laughs again as I wobble on my feet. Her demeanor is entirely different from normal. Even though she's laughing, there's an edge of derisiveness to it? I think it's derisiveness. Derisiveness? It's very unnerving. It feels like she could turn from friend to enemy on a whim. Well, impressive, isn't it? I'm a bit worried. If I admit being drop scared the living daylights out of me, I don't know how this version of her will react. Nah, I'm gonna be honest. That's my wife. I'll be honest. It was a little scary. Maybe next time just, let me know before doing something like letting go? That way I might find it more exciting than frightening. I only meant it as a little prank. I guess I did go a little far with it. A little far might be an understatement. My heart still hasn't recovered from thinking I was going to die. Does it help to know that when I'm like this, I'm incredibly strong and fast? The benefits of having the powers of the Morrigan. I'd assumed as much was true, after recalling what the man from the bar had said, along with Maeve's exchange with Keegan. Still, it rattled me. How on God's green earth did Maeve end up with such power? Well, that certainly is helpful to know. Just don't forget I like you when you aren't like this too. Both sides of you are pretty impressive. I can hardly call being that insecure shadow of potential. Anyways, I'll make sure to give you a heads up for the next time. Give me just a moment before we go any further. As much as I relish these moments, this body is vexingly mortal. Maeve walks into the forest and I hear the sound of crows surrounding her once again. When she returns, she's back to her usual form. That's what I should call it. She seems more tired than normal, but doesn't hesitate to gesture for us to move on. There we go. Okay. Harpy wife is very hot. And I like the idea that she can break me like a twig. There's something about this smile, though, that's my Maeve. That is my Maeve. That's my sweet, cuddly Maeve. Are you okay, Maeve? We don't have to keep going if you need a break. It's nothing. I probably pushed myself a little far today. Nothing a hot meal and good ale won't fix. I'm sure you must have questions as well. Or more questions, anyway. I'm sorry I didn't tell you about this before when you first asked. I would have given you a heads up if I knew I'd have to. We don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but I would like to understand what exactly just happened to you.
I think we should discuss it. I want you to understand too.
Yay! I mean, because I really did, but I was going to be respectful. I just don't know where to start. I paused for a moment, mulling over the questions I could ask. Ask about how her other form works. Ask about Maeve's connection to the Morrigan. Yeah. How about what Keegan was saying about you and the Morrigan? Those wings. do you really have her powers, or... Yes and no. I'm not the goddess herself, if that's what you're thinking. She and I have an understanding of sorts. When I was little more than 1 in 30, I came across an old woman washing laundry in the river. She asked 3 favors of me. First, to go out and collect a rare herb. Then she had me grind it up, and lastly, she asked me to make a tea with it. I must admit, at the time, I was increasingly annoyed with each task. I was in a vulnerable state, and in need of guidance, and it felt like everyone in the world had abandoned me. After we drank the tea, she revealed her true self, the Morrigan. She told me in exchange for the 3 tasks I did, she would repay me 3 times. I hadn't a clue what it meant, though. That is, until I came across some Seelie soldiers who were destroying the mill of a kind elderly couple. The couple hadn't done anything wrong other than live in an area Lugard had recently claimed. The soldiers wanted to starve out the Unseelie. King's orders. Marius and Gorius already had so little to deprive them. Marius and Gorius already had so little. To deprive them of even that. I was so angry, so disgusted with all of them. In my fury, I called out to her to give me a way to stop them. That's the first time I felt her power. It was like nothing I'd ever experienced. The rush was so intense that I lost control and almost attacked the very couple I hoped to save. I wish I could say I learned my lesson right then. I'm not proud of the person I became for a while. I couldn't always use the strength of the Morrigan. I did recognize that was unsustainable. Still, knowing I had access to it made me bold. I got my arse kicked more times than not, but I always knew if I got in real trouble, I could call in a favor with a goddess. So naturally, I found myself in the position to need that favor. That time, an innocent man lost his life. That was also the night I met, Eaton? Oh, sorry.
18.
Aichin. That was also the first time I met Aichin, and joined the Nua Fianna?
Nua Fianna.
Nua Fianna. I agreed since they'd helped me avoid the consequences of my actions. That night, I swore to myself I would never again ask the Morrigan for aid. I swore to learn to fight honestly and to grow strong by my own hand. I was still naive. The gods don't take an interest in you and just leave you alone. My reliance on her was not the only mistake I was bound to make either. When fate sets her eye on you, there's no hiding from it. Don't we know that? I can't help but feel an inkling of dread as she says that. Maeve almost sounds resigned to it. I kind of want to comfort her. I'll save. Yes. I take her hands in mine. Thank you for telling me, Maeve. I know it might be hard to talk about, but I feel like I understand you a bit better now. I can see how much your past weighs on you, and I want you to know we'll face whatever comes of this together. Thank you, Reaps. Just hearing you say that means a lot. I feel less alone. You aren't alone. You have more than just me, too. There's the king and Robin. Not to mention pretty much everyone in the city loves you. You're right. I'll try to remember that more often. We travel a little farther before the conversation comes back to what we were discussing before Keegan interrupted us. Maeve, what do you think the Nua Fianna are doing with Orlais? With Orlith? Orla. I've been thinking about that. I didn't actually know Orla was still around before you said so, so it's hard for me to say. When It is Iphi, right? Aoife. When Aoife took power, I assumed she had to try to remove her rivals. Even if Orla did abdicate, she still got the better claim. Regardless, my first hunch is that the Nua Fianna are being used as a proxy, and probably a fall guy as well, in case they're ever caught crossing the border. Someone's paying them to ferry messages to the old queen without it coming back around to them. A noble, most likely. Thought they all left after the treaty. Not quite. A few of the original nobles stayed, because they swore allegiance to the Unseelie during the war and committed men to the cause. Not hard to think one of them might have just been biding their time before making new moves. To what end, though? Seems like the new Fianna, or this other person, was mostly just fishing for money. Don't know. Can't know without more information. I think back to my investigation and all the things I learned during it. My mind returns to Tethor, Sethor, and Kethor suddenly. Any chance the new Fianna would target more than just Orla? There's a lot of Maroon nobles in Timar with connections to Murius. The Milbel brothers. You could be right. It's also possible they're in on it somehow. You did mention they came into some funds, and I'm somewhat hard-pressed to believe it was all purely charitable. Perhaps your hunch earlier was closer than we thought. In any case, the only way we'll be able to find out what the new Fianna are up to is to track them down. That'll be complicated for a few reasons, but... Before Maeve can continue, my stomach loudly reminds me that it's been several hours since I last ate. Maeve chuckles. All right then. Change of plans. First we eat and rest. Then we'll discuss what to do next. I nod, smiling sheepishly, and follow Maeve wherever she's leading us. Hey, Danish, welcome back! Flips! And a hydrate. Appreciate that. All is quiet in the woods but for the crunching of leaves underfoot. As I walk, my thoughts converge on a single question. How does a goddess come to serve a king? I raise my eyes from the path ahead of my steps, searching for the one who may answer. Instead, I find no one. No one but the sunset speckled woods. Panicking, I stop moving. I search, I call. Maeve? Maeve! Maeve? For the love of... What are you doing here? Her voice came from behind as though I'd passed her by. I turned, confused by her odd reply. Oh my god, they're young! Only to find myself intruding on a lost moment in time. I could say the same for you. You're a long ways from Gorius. Mirlick? Mirlock.
Merlock.
I'm not a bandit. No. So you weren't that new Fianna lass who tried to jump me with a dagger. If you're itching for a rematch, I'm not interested, Unseelie.
Well, I wouldn't call that first time a match. Arms were a bit too short to reach striking distance, from what I remember.
Afraid that's the end of our pleasantries, though. What's the new Fianna doing around these parts? Wouldn't know. I'm not with them anymore. Not that it's any of your business. Oh, I'd say it becomes my business when I get word of a string of robberies in the area, and just so happen to come across a known thief. Got any proof of that? You telling me you never stole? I'm saying you don't know half of what you think you know of the people who took me in when I had nowhere else to go. If you're going to accuse me, I'd hope for a better reason than a decades-old memory. Huh. Suppose we'll just have set the stabbing attempt aside then. You attacked us first! True. But it was our right. The new Fianna was making trouble in our territory, and we couldn't allow our authority to come into doubt. Shh. Your authority? And what if I don't give a rat's ass about your so-called authority? You're not my prince. Lugad's not my king. Interesting. Never thought I'd meet a bandit with a loyalist bent. not a bandit. Not a loyalist either. You're very one or the other with these sorts of things, aren't you? Sure, I have convictions. So do I. Just not to you, Unseelie. So noted. Lucky for me, I don't really need your say in the matter, but it would be in your best interest to cooperate. Speaking of, his smile's so cute! These people are like hundreds of years older than me. You know, finally, some representation for older love interests. Speaking of, I see you've tried your best to avoid that bag of yours from coming into my sights. Looks to be big enough to fit a few stolen goods of note. Let me see inside. If there's nothing amiss, you'll be free to go. Maeve shoots the much younger Flannan. Flannan? I mix it up. Fuck.
Flannan MacLu.
Flannan MacLu. Younger Flannan MacLu, a look that could kill. I feel a shiver roll down my spine. You know what? Fine. Have it your way. For a moment, Maeve looks like she's about to surrender the bag. Instead, her hand flies from her shoulder to her sheath, retrieving her sword in one fluid tug. You want it? Then take it. Instead of scowling as I'm so used to seeing from the king, the Unseelie prince's sly smile blooms into a toothy, boyish grin. Gladly. Flannan leaps into action, but Maeve is quick to put distance between herself and the prince, matching the pace of his step. The two are caught in an encircling dance, eyes fixed on the other's movements. Your footwork's gotten better, Mirlock? We're not kids anymore. I'm glad you think so. Wouldn't want this fight to be too unfair. He's goading her, provoking her into making the first move. She squints, but doesn't bite. There's nothing to gain by going on the offensive. The prince's grin fades to a more subdued smile, an implicit concession. Moments before he strikes. Flannan is surprisingly fast, lunging himself forward with little grace, but his lack of flourish is made up for in sheer ferocity. An onslaught designed to quickly and confidently overwhelm. His attacks come down hard. Maeve winces with each blunt hit of his spear, and her attempts to strike back with her sword prove futile, given the breadth of distance between each other's blades. She's given little time to recover, and worse still, the prince has forced her down an uneven incline. Half her attention is focused on staying steady-footed. So she stops. Mid-thrust, the prince finds his opponent disappearing from his sights, ducking down to topple him from below. He crashes into her with a heavy slam, his size and momentum causing him to fly over her. The tactic wasn't without its cost. Maeve's face took a beating as it collided with Flannan's? It has to be right? Flannan.
Flannan MacLu.
Flannan's knee. But as luck would have it, the prince's spear managed to catch in the ground as he came down. Crunch. The ensuing pressure of the prince's weight almost saps his weapon in two, leaving a distinctive bend along the splintering wood. I don't know if this speaks more to the spear's quality or Flannan's own lack of give relative to it. The two are both winded for a moment, but back to their feet at the same rate. Flannan observes his battered spear and mutters a curse as he tears off the excess and discards it. It's like that, is it? It's only fair. Fine. No sooner does the word leave his mouth, Flannan assails her yet again, but with an awkward gait to his step, only half a spear and a quickly rising temper. Maeve has Flannan at a clear disadvantage now, which leaves him struggling to maintain control over the fight's movements. Her sword counters all of the prince's impatient thrusts, and she makes it look easy, much to his frustration. Thrust, parry, clang, thrust, parry, clang. Getting tired? You wish. True. As Maeve swerves to avoid another predictable swipe, she swings her bag around to take a cheap shot at the prince's head. His reflexes are too quick for her blow to land, but it gives her an opportunity to bring her sword down broadside onto his outstretched arm, disarming him. Instinct propels Flannan away from both her and the mangled spear. He has no way to know if she would attempt to strike him down while his back is exposed to her after all. But instead, she simply sheathes her sword and affixes her bag back over her shoulder. I've got better things to do than dance around you all day, so if you'll excuse me. You dropped something. Flanon's voice comes out coolly as he gestures towards the bronze object glinting in the dirt. A bracelet? Wordlessly, Maeve walks over, pointedly ignoring the prince's stare, and stuffs the object back into her pack. You needn't do this, you know. You could be useful. An asset to a greater cause. That's so. You're quick to admit I bested you. Can't say it convinces me you're on the winning side, though.
I underestimated you, but disarming me is no small feat. You know that. Don't denigrate yourself to insult me.
Pinnacle of modesty. Oh, no, it's her. Pinnacle of modesty you are. Look. Simply consider it. You wouldn't be the first ne'er-do-well my father pardons for the sake of their sword. We understand more than most what desperation can drive up. You know, you never did ask for anything to call me by Son of Lu. Bit rude. People ought to add that to their stories of the unseelie prince and his little packmates. What are you getting at? That was country. Where the hell did my country accent come from? I was doing so well with the Irish. Or I thought I was doing well. Damn it. Ah! What's up, JJ? Steffi, appreciate the lurk. Hybrid, yay, I'm glad. What's up, JMV? Hello. Okay. Need a little bit more water. Look, sometimes you can't get away from your roots. What's up, Comet? Hello, how are you? How are you doing? Okay, let's see if I can get this back now. What are you getting at? That's still Southern. What are you getting at? What the fuck are you getting at? Flanon, I'm changing you. Thank you, Tompy. Should I know? I need his voice back. I need his voice back. Can you speak again? I need that, please. How you doing? Just give him Joey's voice for Brent. Oh, Nowruz is the Persian New Year. Oh, happy Nowruz, or Nowruz, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but happy New Year for you guys. Okay. Okay, let's see. I know you beyond the obvious. I don't know if I can get back the Irish. I think the country is set in now. Should I know you beyond the obvious? Maybe. Nope, that's Southern. No, I've lost it. I've completely fucking lost it. I mean, I'm a New Yorker, so it's required to say that in his voice. Okay, we've completely... I apologize. I thought I was actually doing really, really good, and now it's completely gone, so now they just get American standard accents. That's it. I can't help it. Maybe, maybe not. Why don't you walk a mile that way and ask the bloke I hogtied and retrieved this stuff from? I'm sure you can trust him to tell you true. He's one of your ne'er-do-wells, after all. That's Southern. Why is this happening? I'm so mad right now. I'm actually so mad. Nope, nope, they all get American accents now. I can't help it. Nope, that's what it is. Turns out it's a lot easier to steal when you've got a warlord in your corner. One who won't question why you gutted a bunch of farmers so long as you claim they were loyalists. The prince's face contours through several phases of emotion. Shock, suspicion, shame. Before finally settling into pride. If what you say is true, you'll find it is. You can stake the reputation of Maeve Trujour on it. Your Trujour? How shrewd of you to notice. The hero stalks away, disappearing into the woods, leaving the indignant prince to ponder his folly. arrogant little pup, isn't he? How time loves to repeat. Huh? I startle, an awareness of myself in this strange scene suddenly returning to me, as though drawn out of a trance by the strange woman's words. What is this? What's going on? Peace, child. I come in friendship. To help you. To help her. She will need allies. True allies. If she is to embrace her fate. But first, you asked a question. How does a goddess come to serve a king? How indeed. Let alone one so petty. It is a sad thing, I fear. She resists herself, her potential. You will see for yourself soon the destiny you must guide her towards. But for now, wake up. That was so cool! Except for the part where I couldn't freaking speak right. I'm doing another chapter. Let's go. Game on. I'm doing another chapter. Oh man, I really thought that was going to be the halfway point. I really did think that was going to end it. Disquiet. Oh, I understand. The last one was like fly and this. Okay. Oh, this is so good though. All right there, Druid. I startled awake, not realizing that I nodded off while Maeve was getting our food. I flushed, a little embarrassed by the concern in her gaze. What an odd dream. Not sure what brought it on or what to think of it. It all felt so vivid, but I cleared my throat, trying to put the thought aside for now. Sorry, I guess this morning took more out of me than I realized. Nothing to be sorry about. Your heart was beating 1,000,000 miles a minute while we were up in the air, so if anything, this is my fault. My blush deepens. I can think of a few reasons why my heart was beating that fast. You'll have to forgive me, though. Our adventure today isn't over yet. Once you're done with that, we'll need to get a move on. I nod as I dig into my plate of rabbit and potato, washing it down with small sips from a tankard of goat's milk. It's simple, but steadying. Where are we headed? Well, we need to verify your suspicions about Fiona, but that's easier said than done. When I ran with them, they were a lot less structured. Members were pretty upfront about who they were, some even bragged about it. But these days, without a war to keep the Unseelie mostly off their arses, Fiona has turned to the shadows, created a whole underground network to do their business. It's extensive, difficult to root out. Their leaders operate under false names and change them up every few months to keep us guessing. They've even got their own language, secret code words and a cipher to mark their caches, hideouts, and targets. Only small blessing is that they tended to keep clear of the borderlands. Borderlands? The borderlands! And by extension, the Seelie. Whenever that happens, I just have to drop it and just go to the American accent. Until now, I suppose. Anyway, point is, finding out what they're doing with Orla isn't going to be simple. We'll need to speak with someone with an insider's understanding of their operations, but Fiona never talk when they're in custody. Not strictly out of loyalty, mind you. Apparently members these days are sometimes made to enter into a taboo, a vow of obligation. Yeah, it's gias. A vow of obligation or prohibition that can bring power if kept, misfortune if broken, or both. It is a blessing, it is a curse. More importantly, it is forbidden by the order.
Gias.
Gias.
And then the plural. Giasa.
Gias. Made to enter into a gias after their initiation. It's meant to prohibit them from revealing something to the Sentinels, but we don't know what. My predecessor under Lugard learned that. Tortured it out of some kid. Or Saw died minutes after he spilled his guts, and all the louse got for it was the location of some caches. Shh. Fortunately, I don't believe we'll need to talk to Fionn directly. Not yet, anyway. Here's what I'm thinking. If there's a gap in our border security, there's a chance New Afiana's smuggling goods to the Sealy side on top of whatever meetings they're having with Orla, or anyone else for that matter. Lack of trade with the Sealy provinces hurt us bad, but that doesn't mean we're the only ones wanting. Most of the mines are on our side after all. If the Sealy desires new weapons, iron, or even fine jewelry, they're getting them under the table from us. So, if New Afiana's managed to pull that kind of covert operation off, there's bound to be a few merchants on our side aware of it. It'd be too lucrative an opportunity to pass on. And I just so happen to have a contact in the realm of seedy underbelly trading. He might be the right pain in the arse to deal with, but I'm betting we can wheedle some intel out with a little pressure. Sound like a plan? That sounds fine, although... Shouldn't we be talking to Flannan first? Do you think Orla killed the king? Shouldn't we be talking to our king first? Should we be talking to Flannan first? About what happened in Falius? Maeve's conspiratorial smile falls in response to my question. I shift uncomfortably in my seat. We will. After. This matter can't wait. If Queen Orla is risking her skin on a treason charge just to conspire with the new Afiana, we need to know why. Because no matter what they're up to, or what they're plotting against, it spells trouble for Tir na Nog. Of course, but we were caught. It seems like something the king would want to know about, immediately. Especially since... what's done is done, and Flan's a busy man. He's got his own things to attend to, so I'm not going to waste time trying to run him down. When we see him, we'll tell him. Don't worry about it so much. I nod warily and peck at my food. It's a bit surprising that Maeve isn't showing much more sense of urgency, considering what happened. Then again, I might be overestimating the amount of trust Maeve puts in the king. What with the dream and all. Hey, listen to me. No matter what, we're going to protect you. We all knew we were taking on a huge risk by going through with this plan. And you most of all. We won't just hand you over to them, even if they demand it. I promise. You're our druid now. Yay! I don't answer but nod again, trying my best to look convincingly assured. If I'm being honest though, I wasn't thinking about what this all meant for me. I was thinking about her, and all the Sealy men she had to fight off. If crossing the border is a no-go, surely putting up a fight isn't very good either. But Maeve's acting like it's nothing to fret about. I suppose it could be, but I don't know. Our conversation lulls as I finish eating, and in the quiet of my thoughts, my nerves begin to stir. I think back to the day I found myself in Tir na Nog and the deal I ended up taking with the king. That wasn't a very good idea, was it? At least in retrospect. I don't know if Maeve and Flannan would have believed me if I told them the truth about who I am. No one on the Sealy side did, and Robin's unpredictable, to say the least. At the same time, I've got no business investigating a murder, and it's probably thanks to my own foolishness that Keegan managed to stay 2 steps behind me at all times. I'm no closer to getting home than I was when I agreed to this task, and now, well, I'm not sure. I can't go back to the Sealy side, that's for certain. Does that mean the deal is off? Even if it isn't, I don't know how long I can keep this act up. I already had a few close calls, and I can't imagine Maeve will be terribly pleased to learn of my dishonesty outside of my own mouth. Of course, that's likely to be true, no matter how she hears it at all. Hey, you still with me? You're looking a little green. My gaze darts up to Maeve as I'm pulled to the present. Oh, fuck it. I'm honest with my wife. We tell her. I swallow down the last bit of food in my mouth and push my plate aside. I'm fine, but there's something I need to tell you, Maeve, before things get more out of hand than they already are. She sits up straighter, meeting me in the eye. Yeah? What's on your mind, Druid? It's about that, actually. I'm not actually a druid. Or who you think I am. At all. My gut somersaults as I watch Maeve's face fall. What? Just before you get angry with me, please hear me out. I didn't mean any harm, and Robin can probably verify all I'm about to say, so... Stop. Calm down. Maeve takes a deep breath and her expression relaxes a little. Tell me what you're talking about. I take a steadying breath of my own, then launch into recounting the events of the day I met Maeve, and what happened prior to that. I explain where I'm from, how I got here, and all the strangeness surrounding my mix-up with Daoine. Most importantly, I stress that the only reason I started to play along was out of fear of what might be done to me if I'm not this druid everyone thinks I am. Especially after being tossed around 2 royal courts and being told all sorts of secrets. So, there you have it. The full truth of the matter. I am sorry. I had no idea how I was supposed to get home if I didn't take the king's deal and let him believe I am who he thinks I am. But it was reckless of me to think I could do this, be a spy, as a stranger in this world. I really had no idea what I was getting into. All this being said, I understand if this means you don't trust me now or don't want me tagging along and all this. I just wanted to go home. I still do, but that isn't possible now, is it? Maeve stares at me for a long while, blankly. I avoid her eye, trying to swallow the lump welling up in my throat while nervously rubbing my hands together. I hadn't wanted to think about the possibility of being trapped here forever, unable to see my folks again or explain what happened to me. But I can't kid myself either. Maeve isn't going to want to help me. Not after this. It's okay. What? It's okay. My shock over Maeve's response freezes me in my seat. And truth be told, I don't quite believe it. But before I can say anything else, do anything else, Maeve cuts through the fog and reaches over the table, resting her hands over mine and gripping them tight. I understand. You did what you felt you had to do. But I'm glad you told me. It couldn't have been easy. Maeve releases my hands and sits back, leaving me speechless. For now, let's keep this between us. I won't lie to you. Lannon will be cross when he hears about this, so I think it's for the best that we hold off until we've made more progress with our lead. Ease the blow a bit with good news. But Flan's a man of his word. You'll get home after all this. I'm sure of it. You still want my help? Of course. You've held up your end of the deal so far, haven't you? But I'm not Daoine or a druid. I'm not even from here.
Ah.
All the more oppressive then. You're really not angry with me? At all? Maybe I was for a moment, but you had your reasons and explained them well enough. So I've got no reason to stay angry now that you've set things right. People lie all the time for one reason or another. It doesn't make them inherently dishonest in my experience, or unworthy of future trust. So, unless you're bowing out... No, I still want to help. Good. Let's get out of here then, while the day's still young. I glimpse out the window, peering into the evening sky. I'm not sure if the day's ever young here. You get used to it. Good to see you streaming, and I've been meaning to sneak in and catch a stream or two. I've been here. That's all I can say is I've been here. But it's good to see you in chat again. How have you been? I'm gonna jump out for the night. Tompy, of course. Thank you for hanging out with us. I appreciate you, my friend. Get some rest, okay? Get a lot of rest. How's the life? I mean, life is going well. It's the end of the work year in Japan, so I've been really busy, and I'm just playing otomes in my free time. Druid, wild shape bear into a bear in the woods. Wrong druid, I think. I think there's different kinds of druids. I don't think I'm the shape-shifting kind of druid. I'm not a druid at all, actually. When your lover isn't an elf, just a tall No, my wife is the Morrigan, okay? Which is infinitely hotter, a little scary, but in a hot way. Have a little hydrate. I appreciate everyone hanging out tonight. I'm gonna finish this chapter and then we'll call it a stream. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me tonight, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the story. As we leave the tavern, Maeve gets to telling me about where it is we're going. Oh, I was just getting really good at all the Irish words, and then they're like, hey, here's a new one. It's called the Traveler's Flea Market.
Marga Fla na Tashtali.
Marga Fla an Testoli. I'm never going to be able to say that correctly. Used to go all over Tir na Nog before the war, but these days it's stuck in our provinces. The idea is simple. It picks up as much as it sells from the areas it stops in, so you'll find all sorts of rare stuff from where the market's been before. Along with stolen goods... Sorry, that's me. Along with stolen goods, I wager. Smuggled sealy things. Vendors don't ask questions, no. That makes it a useful spot for getting rid of any contraband you want gone without a trace, so long as you don't mind getting paid only half of what it's worth, or haggling till you're blue in the face. Well, I suppose if it's stolen, it's not your loss. You catch on quick. How far off from here is it then? Not so far, but we'll be walking a while still. I could fly us there right quick, but... That sounds like a good way for me to lose all that food you just gave me. Ugh! Her laugh gets me every time. Ugh! I love unique laughs. I love laughs. I love laughs like that. I love laughs that snort. I love laughter. Everyone's laugh is cute. Okay? I have yet to find a laugh that I find really obnoxious or like don't like. Laughs are great. I thought as much. We end up walking through the dark and maze-like unseelie woods for what feels like a few hours, keeping our conversation light but continuous. It feels somewhat one-sided. Ever since learning where I'm really from, Maeve's had all sorts of questions about it. I oblige in answering as best as I can, but I can't help feeling a little unsure of myself. Maithe? Maithum. As far as stumbling in from another world goes, I don't think I make for a very insightful account. Not like you lot don't have farms. Oh, hush. There's similarities to be sure, but that just makes the differences all the more fascinating. Plus, it's all so big. My disbelief must have shown on my face because Maeve immediately laughs. Oh man, I wanted the laugh track. It's true though.
All we've got here is this little island, you know? I've checked, flown all the way up, as high as I can go, and the only thing past our shores is an angry sea. An endless fog.
If there's anything more there, I wouldn't dare fly into it to find out. Whether we like it or not, we're stuck in this place and have to make the best of it. But you? There's all sorts of wild and wonderful places out there for you, under a sky that's always changing, always moving. I'm jealous, really. So often things here just feel stuck. I love the freedom you have. I shift a little, digesting her words. This thought. Well, I don't have wings, Maeve, nor do most folk, I imagine, so I'm not sure if we're as free as you think. My little island is all I know, too. That said, safe. I do sometimes think about leaving. I sometimes think about leaving, if I'm being honest. I won't so long as my folks intend to stay put, but I already know a few families who've left for the new world, as they call it, for something better than life under English rule. Maybe it is. Maybe not. I expect it depends. It'd be nice if we didn't go hungry what feels like every winter, at least. A lump forms in my throat. I hope my folks have gotten by without me there to help them. I stop walking as my thoughts swirl with the latent panic I've been burying, staving off since I realized I wasn't getting home in a hurry. But before I spiral, I feel a hand on my shoulder, squeezing it gently. Easy now. We'll get you home soon enough. We just need to give you a good story to remember us by first. I make my best attempt at a nod and a smile before stepping out from Maeve's grasp. Our conversation lulls as we forge on, but I can't stand the silence for long. It allows my thoughts to wander to places I'd rather they didn't. I clear my throat. Have you always lived in Marius, Maeve? She shoots me a quizzical eye from over her shoulder. Just about. My time with Nua Fianna took me to Gorius for a spell, as did some of my time with Flan. But I grew up in southeast Marius. What were you doing in Gorius? Which time? Both, I suppose. Oh, well, I was a bit too young to understand all the ins and outs of Nua Fianna machinations, that word that I can't even say in English. But we were more or less responding to the Unseelie army moving south. Gorius was considered conquered land at this point, too troublesome and unvaluable to be worth retaking. So the brunt of the rebel and the loyalist armies were on the front lines in Marius. Problem is, some of the characters Lugard installed to replace the Just Fla. Or an Flaha. Okay. To replace the Flaha he killed had either succumbed to the very same greed that plagued their predecessors, or were otherwise too inexperienced with power to get a handle on the gangs that cropped up in response to their weakness. Nua Fianna arguably did the same thing. Stepped in as an authority in a few places, muscling out the Unseelie-aligned leaders, or at the very least pinning them under our thumb. But the Nua Fianna I knew, wasn't in the business of self-enrichment. Not past basic comfort and necessity, anyway. Our leader, Phelim. Our leader, Phelim, knew that the common folk were restless and desperate, which made falling into crime just about inevitable, so she tried to steer that energy into something positive instead. Not legal, but positive. We were still miscreants and thieves, but we weren't just out for ourselves. We didn't take from people who couldn't afford it, and we gave more than we got. Most of the time. Add to that our tendency to root out our less savory rivals, and the people of Gorius didn't mind our presence so much. So were you helping to keep the peace then? I'd like to think so. Phelim had good intentions at the very least. How's the king factor in then? Right away as it happens. As I mentioned before, most of the Unseelie rebels had moved into Marius at this point, where they were starting to carve out territory along the coast, but Flan and his infantry, the pack, were left behind. To this day, I'm not quite sure why. He never said, and the pack was a bit notorious for their efficiencies in battle, so it struck me as a bit odd that they'd be the ones holding down the fort. Then again, that might be exactly the reason, come to think of it. Might over diplomacy? In any case, let's just say the Nua Fianna had a bit of an unfavorable run-in. No one died, but our tentative hold on our speck of the region was cut loose, so we were driven back into Marius shortly thereafter. A lot of time passed before I found myself back in Gorius again. But by then, Flan was my friend, not a foe. We were working together to keep the peace instead of fighting against one another. Not that I put up much of a challenge the first time. I freeze as Maeve mentions her past with Flan. I also realize Maeve's pitch is changing as I'm focusing more on trying to get like an Irish accent than like actually pitching her correctly. And I do apologize for that, but I can only focus on one thing at a time right now. Suppose now would be as good a time as any to bring up my dream. Or suss out what I want to know instead. I just feel like I really want to be honest with her. I just want to be honest with my wife. Maeve, humor me a moment. Could you tell me a bit more about when you first met the king? Or the times after? Just anything that sort of stuck out to you at the time? That's an oddly specific question. Why? It's hard to explain, honestly. I think I had some sort of vision when I was sleeping. You were there, Manon was there, but both of you seemed so much younger. I wasn't sure what to think at first, but I feel like it might have been your past. It was so vivid, and I don't know where I would have gotten all that otherwise. Have you had visions like this before? No, never. At least, I don't think so. Tell me what you saw. I swallow hard before regaling Maeve with a rough summary of my dream. As I reach the end and tell her of the strange woman I saw, Maeve's eyes sharpen. Her body tenses, angered. Of course. Should have known she'd start meddling. You know her then? The woman? Yeah, that was the Morrigan. You didn't... Okay, even I kind of got the hints here. No, not really. I've never known her or what she wants. I don't think anyone really can know her. I don't say anything. Her words make no sense and come out like pure venom. It's like Maeve's talking to herself more than me. After a moment, Maeve sighs. Her shoulders sag, defeated. No sense in lying to you, I suppose. Not after you've been so forthright. Congratulations, Reaps. The Morrigan has blessed you with past sight. As for her motives, couldn't tell you. My life would be a lot simpler if I could. Can't say I'm happy she's decided to parade you through my life, and probably will again. Who am I to question her judgment after all she's given me? I don't blame you, of course. You wouldn't be able to stop her, and I wouldn't advise telling her off if she shows up in your dreams again. Just try to keep an open mind, no matter what she shows you. Thank you for telling me. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Maeve turns away from me despite her words. I feel compelled to reach out and assure her that I don't mean to pry. But before I can, she suddenly stops, her focus trailing to a gap in the trees ahead of us. Hold up. Hear that? I think the market's just through here. Waving me behind her, Maeve leads the way with her hand on her sword. I hope it's just a precautionary action. Cool. We exit through the gap and enter into a dark glade where all traces of sky are obscured by a dome of thick foliage. Below it lies the market, a maze of colorful patchwork tents lit by lanterns' light and the glow of strange mushrooms. Each row is packed with cloaked figures, but despite this, there's no noise, only indecipherable whispers spoken between merchants and attendees. My jaw slacks as I form my questions, but Maeve holds up a finger to her mouth, shushing me. She leans over to my ear, whispering.
Folks tend to keep their voices down here. Less they know about each other's business, the better. Same rings true for us, understand?
Should we not have cloaks too? I quickly clap my mouth shut and nod, eliciting a smile from Maeve. She nods me forward towards one of the dense crowds. I grimace. Easy to get separated going in a thing like that. I'm gonna hold her hand! Why would I not hold her hand? They give me an option to hold her hand. Why would I not hold her hand? Yes, the heart. You see that heart? That's a special heart. That's the heart we want. That's what we want. We don't want friendship. We want the heart. Unthinkingly, I reach out to Maeve's free hand and entwine my fingers through hers. Okay, I said, hey, we could have done the normal thing where you hold here. You know, like when you're going through concerts and stuff and you hold your friend's like shirt, like whoever's the leader, you hold onto like their shirt or whatever to keep close. No, I really said, bam. Like, you're not letting go of me. Twine my fingers through hers. She turns her head back around to me, eyes wide with surprise. It doesn't take long for her to realize what I'm doing, though. She smiles softly and squeezes my hand, then pulls me into the market. I'm fine with this. I'm fine with whatever the hell you were before, and I am totally happy with what you are right now. Both sides, I'm in. It's a 2-for-1 deal. How can anyone be upset with this? Moving through the throng of attendees proves less chaotic than expected. All are engrossed in their business and part like water as Maeve and I step through. I wonder, though, how Maeve expects to find her contact with everyone covering their faces. But she doesn't seem to be looking at the merchants, only their booths. Eventually, she stops and turns back to me. Here we are. See the markings? I don't at first. Maeve gestures out one of the structural poles of the merchant's tent, adorned with an engraving, just subtle enough that most, including me, would assume it was just a peculiar flaw in the wood. It means friend, from what I've gathered. Friend to whom? Hopefully us. Oi, Senin, you under there? The stooped figure Maeve calls out to jolts taken aback by her bold declaration. Likewise, the act seems to provoke his would-be customers into making their excuses and scurrying off, allowing Maeve and I to freely approach. Aha. True Jor, my girl. You are a sight for sore eyes, if a little unpracticed in the market's decorum. I hope, given this loss in revenue you've bequeathed me, that you have come to make it worth my while. Of course, old friend. I'm simply seeking that favor you owe me, and in exchange I'll continue to pretend those goods I found for you weren't stolen to begin with. He sighs laboredly. I see. You are, as always, an unwavering educator of justice, though I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Give me a moment. The old trader spends a few minutes shooing away prying eyes and packing things up, securing merchandise and closing the flaps of his stall. Once he finishes, he steps out and gestures for us to follow him. The old man guides us out of the market proper into what seems to be a private encampment for the vendors, where they eat, sleep, and store their wares. I saw Reaper hydrate in the chat and I was like, I should hydrate. There are fewer people out and about here. Spare some hired muscle, but no one seems to pay Senin or us any mind as we slip into one of the empty tents. Now then, with this modicum of privacy established, your curious companion notwithstanding, what does the captain of the unseelie sentinels want with dear old Senin? Information. I've got reason to believe one of the gangs, or even several, have been making trips across the border. Figured you might know something about it. Seen some odd seelie stuff in the market, perhaps? My dear girl, you are joking, yes? I am but a humble tradesman, and overly fond of my head. I assure you quite unequivocally that I am in no way involved in such things should they be happening. Senin, I'm not going to execute you for being aware of an underground trading network. If you are, of course. What a relief. You simply endeavor to run me out of business then? Condemn me to destitution or put a target on my back? You must know there would be consequences for me should I entertain such theories with you of all people. Now why would that be? You've always told me your clientele are on the up and up. And indeed they are, for as far as Senin is aware. But it is not so for all in my trade, and word travels fast. You would see me shunned, blacklisted, condemned. Have you no pity? Or perhaps your new lot in life has made you forget where you came from. I forget nothing. Then you understand. Favor or no favor, you cannot ask me to cross these people. Instead, I can offer you a discount on any of my rare finds, but that is it. That is all. I understand where you're coming from, but you won't be crossing anyone. I'm not even all that interested in shutting the trade down, to be honest. It's a non-issue at the moment, and it'll be your own folly if the wrong Seelie people catch you. Then why, pray tell, are you barking up this tree? Because it goes beyond trading. I think some folk might be meddling into politics over there, and that is an issue I'm concerned with. You should be too if you don't want another war. Oh, T! T with the raid! Welcome, raiders! You should be too if you don't want another war. This is my wife, by the way, raiders. This is Maeve. This is my wife. She's, really hot. That's Maeve. That's my wife. She's really hot. And there's another cool thing about her, and yeah, love her. I see. How fortuitous for me, then. War's always good for business, my girl. They buy in bulk. We upcharge. I'll stock weapons, perhaps. Senan, this is serious. I am serious. You cannot ask me to help you with this. Especially this. Fine. Then you leave me no choice. I'm confiscating your goods and bringing you into unseelie custody. What? No! By what right? By every right as it happens. It's my duty, technically. Not a part of it I especially like, but if you won't help me with this, then I can't neglect the part you play in propping up the gangs anymore. You. Treacherous cow.
Bo
Oh.
Bofieltok.
Oh, that one has a little bit of a lag to it. Bofieltok. You. Bofieltok. Do you think you can get away with this so cleanly? If you take me, you'll have to come down on this whole godforsaken place. I know. I don't want to. For as overrun as the market is in stolen goods, I don't relish the idea of collecting the overdue honor fines of a bunch of desperate folk, especially if they can't pay. But this is more important, and I came prepared for this outcome. The woods are surrounded with my men. Senan. I give the word and... Stop! Enough of this foolishness! I see this is no true choice at all. How typical of your lot. I am sorry, Senan. I'll do what I can to protect you. The old man scoffs. Spare me your promises, Trujor. I expect nothing to come from it. I'll tell you what little I know, but then I want you gone and to never seek me out again. Very well. Go on. The old man's body stoops, his discomfort palpable in his endless fidgeting. With a deep sigh, he peers from side to side before leaning in, smacking his thin lips and lowering his voice to a whisper. There is a rumor about a mutual acquaintance of ours and their ambitions. Senan hesitates a moment. Much has changed in your time away. More than you realize, I think. Where old Phelim saw a need for resistance against the regimes, her successor has made moves to, if not join them, then replace them. So that's it. Nuafiena's helping Orla. Orla and her allies take back her kingdom. Why, of all the foolish! Not so loud! And you mistake me entirely. Nuafiena is no pawn of the Dowager. Rather, it is the reverse. What? That doesn't make any sense. Do they have some kind of leverage over her? Perhaps, but there is another story. Another explanation. Maeve's expression hardens. In turn, the old man starts to lose his nerve. You see, there's no way to know for certain. My information could be very well wrong. Out with it. It is about Nuafiena's leader. Have you, perchance, heard the tale of the lost Seelie princess? I can't do another chapter. I can't. There's no time. I cannot do it. The lost Seelie princess? So I know her friend is still with the Nuafiena. Oh, I don't know. No. I can't do it. Next time. I got through 2 chapters tonight. I did 2. Usually you only do 1. I did 2. I cannot do 3. No, I gotta get stuff done. Chat, if you want to say bye to YouTube, now's your chance while I do the outro. YouTube, thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying this. I feel like my Irish accent is getting a little better and better. People are gonna come at me and be like, it's shite, and I know it is. It's called practice. But it's actually really fun. I hope to get to a point that, like, I can actually give everyone, like, an actual variance of where their voice is. I got really set on, Maeve's being kind of low because it was just easy. It feels easier to hit a lower. It feels easier to hit an Irish accent in a lower register, and I don't know why. It was kind of funny hitting a country accent in there a few times. I'm really embarrassed by that, actually, not gonna lie. But it is what it is. It is what it is, and I can only work with that. But if you enjoyed this, please leave a like. At this point, if you were at this VOD in particular, you are like 6 VODs in. This is like the 6th part. So maybe leave a comment. Like it. Comment. Subscribe if you're not. I do a lot of Otome content. But if you made it to this point, I really appreciate you watching it all the way through. Thank you so much. And with that, YouTube, I hope you have a great day, night, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you next time. Bye, guys.